NIOS welcomes you in this educational video for subject Library and Information Science. This is subject Library and Information Science with course number 339. In this video we will be doing lesson number 4. You can see the lesson name 5 Laws of Library Science. In this video we will be learning all the 5 laws which are followed in library science. We will understand the details of all these 5 laws. These 5 laws are the basic pillars or the basic rules of library. Just like we have traffic rules which are being followed by all the people who drive any vehicle. So similarly, these are 5 laws. First, we will begin with vocabulary. All these difficult words which we will show in this vocabulary section, they are taken from the same lesson. Law. Conventional. Staff, office member. Family. Shelf arrangements. Centralized. remote area, places, assistance, administration, disorganized, post-industry society, academics, challenge, interact, science, scientific, reader, user, furniture, So far we have understood the vocabulary from the lesson. From here now we will begin the lesson. You can see the image on screen. He is a famous personality in the field of library science. His name is Dr. Shiali Ramamitra Ranganathan. In short, we call him as Dr. SRR. He made several significant contributions to the library profession. So he was a person who initiated the concept of library science for the first time in India. So that is the reason he is also known as father of library science. So even nowadays, we all call him as father of library science. He is the person who formulated the 5 laws of library science. As we already have understood, the library science, father of library science is Dr. SRR, and in the year 1928, he formulated the 5 laws of library science. And also, he published all these 5 laws in a famous book entitled as 5 Laws of Library Science. This book was published in the year 1931 for the first time. And now you can see this image. He is the person, he is not from India. His name is Professor Edward N. Ross. He is actually a mathematics teacher. But let me tell you that one out of the 5 laws, the first law was suggested by Professor Edward N. Ross. So that is why he owes the first law. And the other 4 laws, they were enunciated by Ranganathan himself. In this video, we will be discussing the basic philosophy of all these 5 laws and also the implementation of all these 5 laws in the library operations and activities. You can see the 5 laws of library. With all these laws are the main 5 laws. The first law states that books are for use. The second law states that every reader has his or her book. It means irrespective of the age, gender, and interest in library, each reader can find the book of his choice. So this is the second law. Third law states that every book has its reader. So we can say that the first law and the third law are quite similar. But if we try to understand the meaning, then we will understand that there are many books in the library, and similarly, outside the library, the peoples are also of different interests. So each book has its reader. The fourth law states that save the time of the reader. The fifth law states that library is a growing organism, and it's a growing organism. That is why it is spreading from one place to the other. So that is why library has a good network and they all are interconnected with each other. We will understand all these 5 laws in detail in further slides. We will take a break here. Break.
करने राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो, धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो,
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से
और जागे
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने। परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बात।
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, हम अपना जीवन स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने,
Before the break, we were discussing about the 5 laws of library. We had already seen the brief statements of 5 laws. Now, we will be understanding all the 5 laws in detail. So, this is the first law. Books are for use. In library, you can find books of various subjects. And all those subjects are for some or the other use. Now let us understand the details of implication of the first law. You can see the 5 points on screen. So the first point indicates the library location. It explains that there are many places where libraries are located, and all the books which are available there in the library, they are of use. The second point explains that library hours are also fixed. If we talk about the location, then yes, the space is important, because library is a place where any reader comes and sit quietly and can focus on the content by reading the book at a silent and peaceful location. So that is why the library location is important. And if we deeply understand the meaning of the library hours, that means certain specific time periods are allotted to the students. As we know that in school, the school times are limited, and accordingly library hours are decided. But yes, we know that there are libraries which are full-time dedicated to the readers, and in full-time libraries, the library hours are fixed so that readers can come on their allotted time and can feel the peacefulness and a silent atmosphere to read the books. The third important point is library furniture. In library, we know that there are some furniture which is required for the reader so that they can sit on the chair, they can keep the book on the table. So furnitures are also required so that they can sit at the lighted and ventilated place where books are kept, and they can take the book which is of their requirement, and after reading the book they can keep back the book on the shelf. So for keeping back the book and for taking the book, the shelves are needed, the chairs are needed, for the furniture so that people can sit, wait, they can keep the book, their book stand. So all these things are required. Stairs, so that if the books are kept on the upper shelf, so they can take out the book, and in need they can keep back the book. So all these types of things are required, which comes under the library furniture. And the fourth point talks about the book selection. Book selection is done by the library staff, because it is not like that they bring any kind of book. The library staff is responsible for bringing the book which is on demand basis. According to the reader's demand, they select the choice of subjects and books which can be placed in their library so that readers can utilize the content. The fifth important point is library staff. Library staff is very important because they are the people who are the connecting pin between the library and the reader. So library staff needs to be sensitized and aware about the content, which subject is kept on which floor, on which shelf, which subjects are searched in which corner. So all such queries, so that the library staff can easily resolve the queries of the inquirer. Now first law we have understood. Now on screen you can see the second law of the 5 law. The second law states that every reader has his or her book. We know that in library there are so many books, and if you try to understand the meaning of this statement, we will understand that people have different interests and they can choose any book. Let us now understand this second law in detail. If you try to understand the implications of the second law, it can be considered in 4 points. The first point explains that obligations of the state. Library books and selection of books. Second point, obligation of library authority. Then in this comes choice of books and the choice of the staff. The third important implication is obligation of the library staff, and the fourth important point is obligation of the users. So let us now understand all these 4 points in detail. Implications of the second law. So let us understand the obligation of the states. State has certain obligation. The first and the foremost is the library legislation, which makes adequate provisions regarding library. It says percentage of the cess is to be collected from people so that they will understand the importance of book, and also grant to be given by the government for library system, for the maintenance, for the updation of the library. And also the legislation leads to cooperation between libraries in a state and integrates them with state central libraries at apex. Now this is the second implication of the second law. It explains that the choice of the books and the choice of the staff, these are the 2 necessary obligations of the library authority. We know that choice of book selection is determined by the demands of the user. Whatever the users and the readers will demand, so accordingly the library staff will arrange the books. And demand refers to the selection of reading material which is given for the library. And if we talk about the staff, choice of the staff is also a careful selection which is important, and we know that the ultimate aim is to utilize the library in a proper way. So to exploit all the resources which are available in the library, the competent library staff is needed. And to implement the second law, the library authorities should make all the possible efforts to recruit well qualified library staff at the stage of planning. Let us now understand the third obligation of the second law. The obligation of the library staff, the objective of second law cannot be achieved unless the library staff discharge their obligations in an effective and efficient manner. So to perform their duties, the library staff has to adopt certain attitudes and practices to realize the word his. This word is important. So providing reading material is not the only duty of the library staff. The staff must ensure that readers got the material of their own interest before leaving the library. And also, the second law puts another obligation on the library staff, that means to provide the list or the bibliographical indexing abstracts and other related services to the users. This is the fourth obligation of the reader. The second law imposes certain obligations on the reader towards library. It is the duty of the reader to follow the rules and regulations of the library in order to use and utilize library resources in an effective and efficient manner. The third law states that every book, its reader. In library there are so many books. So similarly, there are respective readers available for every book. Let us understand this law further. The implications of the third law states, the first implication is it has open access. So anyone who visits library can go and search the book because of the open access. Because all the shelves, they have the name with the label of the subject, so it is easy for the readers. The second implication is self-arrangement. All the shelves on which books are kept, they are arranged in a sequential manner with numbers assigned to each shelf. And also subjects, all the new arrivals, they are kept at the specific location, and the old books, subject wise books, they are all kept on their specific locations in their own shelf. So that is why it is easy to search and look for any book. The third important implication is the easy access. The books, they are kept in such a way so that any reader can read the name of the book in an easy way. So this is important. The way the books are kept on the shelf is easy for everyone. So that is why it is known as easy access. The fourth important implication is catalog. We all must have seen a library catalog in the library books. If you have used the library, sometime it is of yellow color. In other library, it is of different colors. It is pasted on the book front page or the last page. So in this, every details are placed, the book name, the writer's name, and also the person who has borrowed the book, the date of return. So all those important information is kept on that page. So catalog is also important. Next to that is the fifth important implication, that is publicity. So for any library, it is important that people come and utilize the library. So for that purpose, the publicity of the library is an important aspect. The next point is sixth point, which is display of books. On different occasions, different themes of the books are shown as a display so that people can come and utilize those content. We have understood first, second, and third law. Now this is the fourth law. Save the time of the reader. We will understand it in detail. You can see the fourth law. We will understand its implications now. It has 7 implications. The first important implication is that it has classified arrangement. So classified arrangement is generally seen in all the libraries so that it can save the time of the user, whoever comes in the library to look after or to get any book. So the reader can search the book according to the classification which is mentioned in the library. The second important implication is catalog entry. Catalog entry is the kind of entry which is done by the staff member. In this, they keep the details of the book, the author's detail, and the related information according to the topic and the subject. So that is kept under the catalog entry. The third important point is open access. Open access means everyone and anyone can come and look for the book as per his or her requirement. If in case the person takes the wrong book, then that person can keep back the book and then again search for the new book which is required. Next important point, fourth one, is the reference services are also suggested by the library. If in any case I am looking for any particular subject, then I can ask for the reference service from the librarian, and the reference service can suggest to get the required book. It also saves time. So reference services are available, which comes under the fourth law. The fifth implication of the fourth law states that the libraries are centralized and they have a prenatal cataloging. It explains that libraries are interconnected with each other, and if a specific book is not found in one library, then that can be searched in another library which is connected with one library because of the centralized system. The next point explains the sixth number, which is stack room guides. This is the next implication of the fourth law. it explains that every library has a room guide which explains that what subjects book are kept in which room. So according to the room, they have particular subjects are kept there. The next important implication is the library location. It explains that the accessibility should be easy for the people so that they can visit the library in an easy way. Like it should not be at the far off places where people find it difficult to reach. So it should be in the reach of the people in an easy manner. So all these points are important, which comes under the fourth law. Now we will discuss the fifth law of library. Fifth law explains that library is a growing organism. Let us now understand it in detail. Fifth law also has implications. These are 4 in number. The first implication explains that libraries, they have growth in size, means they also increase in number as per the requirement and the demand. The second implication is the library building. The library buildings are also, it can be one, it can be many, as per the need. The library buildings can vary. Also, sometimes there are interconnected libraries, they are connected with the support of the online system. The third important implication is the growth of readers. Growth of reader explains that nowadays different people from different background, old people and kids, children, they all visit library for their own interest. So libraries provide books of different subjects to the different readers. The fourth implication suggests that there is a growth of staff. According to the libraries' need, as the library services are increasing, so accordingly the growth of the staff is also increasing. There are different services which are provided by the library, and they have staff in their different departments. So far we have understood all the 5 laws of the library science. These are all the 5 laws which were old, but nowadays we have a modern version of laws in different context. As with the changing time, those 5 laws are now converted into the new version, because nowadays we have more technology. So let us now understand all those modern versions. Now on screen you can see all the modern versions of the laws which are in different context. So the first law states that books are for use. We know that nowadays we have some tapes, films, records and different kinds of books, because nowadays there are different editions. Like we know that there are tapes and there are films which are just the copy of the textbook or the books, and records can be the audio record or the video record, and the replicas and the books, they are all for the use in the information delivery system. So according to the people's requirement and this updation in technology, the books are also added in a technical way, so that different types of accessibility options are provided to the different types of users. The second law states that every reader his book. In the older time, it was considered as in one medium only, but nowadays, every reader his or her medium. That means according to the need of the medium, like Hindi, English, Gujarati, Marathi, Bengali. So accordingly, we have mediums added. The third law states that every book, its reader. Like if we try to understand it in today's context, then we have now audio, video material, tape material, recorded material, and all they are used by different types of users as per their physical need or sensory needs. The fourth law is it saves the time of the reader. It is just the same because we know that when we go to the library, then we need to spend some time while traveling. But nowadays we have online system and we all can easily save our time. Just by one click, we can use the library in the laptop, in the mobile, on the desktop computer. So it saves the time of the reader. This is something which is important. And just by sitting at one place, we can utilize the library and save the time. The fifth law, this is the last law. It explains that library is a growing organism. It is not like that we buy the good number of books and we place them on the shelf. We buy the book according to the need of the reader, and also according to the need, the libraries are also added at the new places. They are also growing. So far, we have understood the vocabulary, then we understood the lesson. We have some more content in this lesson that we will cover in the next part number 2 video. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you.